Hello everyone and welcome back to more of Grisaia. In the last episode we ran into Machia here, who's just kind of staring at the ocean, and I'm not really sure why, but she's just kind of reflecting and thought and kind of, just appreciating how large the ocean is and how significant it makes her and her problems. And we couldn't care less, however, because we apparently have no emotion whatsoever, or soul. Yuji the Soulless. And with that, let's continue. No worries. Since you're the one drinking it, there's no problem. Enjoy.
これは私のだから問題ないのよね。でもなんで？ねえ、教えなさいよね。
Alright, let me break it down for you. Giving a cat milk can upset its stomach badly. If you're that desperate to give it some, you need to dilute the milk with water first.
別にどうしても与えたいわけじゃないもん。
The cat returns. As soon as the words out of her mouth, she was glancing restlessly around the area. What's wrong? Looking for a source of water by any chance?
違います。水は探していません。なんでもないの、バカ。ぐるぐるにゃー。
The black cat wraps itself around Machiru's leg like a fuzzy boa constrictor, then starts to rub the corner of his jaw roughly against her ankle. It's like it's trying to mark her with its scent. It seems like you pretty much tamed the animal. One could almost get the mistaken impression that he's begging for the milk you always give him.
そんなことないです。猫にゃ。このどこの馬の骨ともわからぬ猫。つまり馬猫は懐いてきてません。
You sure about that? Rommel seems awful.
だから猫にゃ。いや、馬。馬です。この猫は馬です。
No, it isn't. It's clearly a cat.
そんなのわかってるわよ。もう。
Apparently giving up its request for milk, the feline in question sinks to the ground at Machiru's feet and rolls itself up into a ball. Within seconds, it closes its eyes and falls fast asleep. You must have been feeding this thing for quite a while, for it to trust you this much.
うるさいわね。別に頻繁に通って餌付けなんてしてないんだからね。これは赤の他人の猫の馬なのよ。つまり赤い馬なの。だから最終的には石飛ばってことなの。
Okay. Could you please calm down a bit? You have a bad habit of firing off unintelligible gibberish when you get worked up.
じゃあ馬を撫でて落ち着きます。
Michiru reaches down and scratches the neck of the defenseless cat with the tip of her fingers. The animal moves its head in time with her strokes in evident pleasure, then begins to lick at the pink pads on its paws. The cat seems so completely and blissfully relaxed that I half expected to melt into a contented puddle. Just watching it, I can feel some of the stiffness in my shoulders begin to lighten. It's not good to carelessly let your guard down, but keeping up a state of constant tension is an even worse idea. After a brief glance around the area, I decide to take a moment of rest. Alright, I think I'll join him down there for a while. I drop myself to the ground next to Michiru. Flustered, she grabs at her skirt and holds it close, preventing any potential visual access to the interior. Don't be an idiot. I don't have any ulterior motive. You worry about the stupidest things.
下心がなくても見えたら困るでしょう。
Like what? A bit of cloth? Nothing worth worrying about. She was apparently worried about disturbing the cat now slumbering at her feet, as she's avoiding any large movements. Either way, I truly don't have any secret plans involving her underwear. I just want to sprawl out in the grass and think about nothing at all for a while.
いいから、あんまりこっち見ないでよね。
It's been a long time since I laid myself down on the ground and gazed blankly up into the sky like this. Every once in a while, I do spend some time gazing at the clouds, but I tend to be thinking things over while I do so. But as Michiru says, just looking for no particular reason isn't bad in its own way. The vault of blue above me hasn't changed. Looks just as it did when I was a child. I thought the clouds might seem a little closer by now, but naturally they're the same as they've always been. My perspective may be a meter or so higher where I stand, but that's completely insignificant on the scale. I can stretch my hand up all I want. I'll never reach the clouds. We're all but chained to the dirt beneath our feet. I see. Not a bad view. Michiru begins to speak, her tone somewhat troubled.
私は空はちょっと怖いんだ。特に夜の空。月が浮かんでいるのを見てると、それが月じゃなくて大きな穴に見えてくるの。空はすんごくでっかい蓋で、そこにある空気穴が月。そう考えると、箱の中に閉じ込められた気になって息苦しくなる。
I've heard of people who get disturbed by the way the moon always seems to follow you around. But the world is a giant box angle is new to me.
私にはそう見えるの。だから夜は空を見上げない。怖くなるし、寂しくなる。
I think I understand. You don't look at the night sky not to prevent yourself from transforming into a wolf, right? I imagine that would be troublesome.
いっそその方が気が楽だわ。狼でもドラキュラでも構わない。銀の銃弾で撃ち抜いてほしい。狙うのはにゃー。ああ、ごめんね、猫に。お腹空いたのかな？それとも眠いのかにゃ
？Well, this weather really does make you want to take a siesta. That said, I haven't eaten breakfast yet, so the timing is a bit off.
ねえ、ユージ。変なこと聞くけど、変に思わないでね。
No worries on that front. I've had you down as exceptionally weird for a long time now.
さ、人って死んだらどうなるの？
What?
待って！起き上がらないで。そのまま寝転がって聞いて。
If possible, I'd like to talk about this while observing her face. But if Michiru desires otherwise, I can do naught but obey. I ease myself back into the grass and listen to her voice.
例えば、ドラキュラは太陽の光で灰になって消えておしまいでしょ？だったら人間は死んだらどうなるの？
Are we talking about religious ideology here? You want to hear something about final moral judgment?
そういうんじゃない。もっと普通に死んだらどうなっちゃうの？
Let's see. I haven't died yet, so I can't speak with much authority, but probably nothing.
何もないってどういう状態？
If you're imagining floating naked in a pure white space, I think you're slightly off. The way I picture it, it's just like going to sleep and then never waking up again.
そっか。眠って起きないのか。
Everyone around you will probably be running around worrying about the funeral, but what do you care? There are many different ways to get to that point, but ultimately I think everyone's just sleeping for eternity.
そっか。そうなんだ。意外と楽なのかもね。
Depends on how you look at it. Anyway, heaven and hell and all that are basically just the remnants of moral education from an earlier era. Nobody really takes that stuff seriously anymore. Don't see many people going around walking on water or making magical wine out of it. Of course, it does seem God does appear before the chosen few every once in a while, most often to tell them they need to start up a political campaign. Michiru begins to ask something, but her words stop before the words leave her mouth. After a moment of silence, she starts to speak again. I can't tell whether it's the continuation of her dangling sentence or a completely new topic.
もし私が死んだら、
Couldn't but have yourself there, or do you plan to die anytime soon?
ないよ。ないけど、もしもの話。だって、ここは景色がすごく綺麗じゃない？ここから世界中が見渡せそうだもん。こんな場所で眠れるんだったら幸せ。
To be honest, I'm a little displeased to hear a perfectly healthy person scouting out locations for their tomb.
そう固いこと言わないの。ねえ、その大役をユージに任せてあげる。 ここにお墓作って。
You want me to dig a hole and bury you in it? Look, in the first place, a grave isn't something that you can just make wherever you please. Do you understand that?
いいの。細かいことはいいからそうしなさい。
The cat's eyes shoot up at the sound of Machu's shout. Startled, it bounds away like a spring vanishing in the blink of an eye. I slowly raise my upper body off the ground, brushing off the grass clean to my clothes.
まったく。あんたにはマロンがないのよ、マロンが。
I don't have any lettuce in my heart. Let us fix that. Why are we talking about lettuce?
栗の話なんてしてないでしょ。何よ、ふざけてんの。猫にゃも逃げちゃったし。まあ、栗とか言うからお腹空いちゃったじゃない。さあ、それじゃあ朝ごはんでも食べに行くわよ。そこ。
Machu's expression has returned to the norm. It's as though the conversation just now never happened. Well, if you're hungry, I guess I can split my beans with you.
豆。相変わらず貧相な食生活してるわね。
Says the girl who's always filling up our convenience store box lunches that are packed full of preservatives.
さいわね。それじゃあ今からどっちが先に学校戻るか競争負けたらジュースとかおごれるよいだ。
A little conversation about death took me by surprise, honestly. Not what you'd expect from a random chat with your classmate. But life is always shadowed by death. The only question is whether you're aware of its presence at your side. Sometimes a man who looked perfectly healthy in the morning goes to sleep and never opens his eyes again. Death can come at any time, and once it does, it's too late to regret the things you've left undone. Morbidity isn't productive, but sometimes we should remember that nothing lasts forever. Machu's words might be significant in their way. Machu calls me from some distance away. Carefree girl, I'll catch up to her in a second, so that's the extent of her head start. I begin to walk slowly, trying to decide what sort of drink I'll have her buy me. Rookies should stick to moving in pairs. You'd better know what you're doing if you want to work alone. I'm quoting a professional detective, but the words are generally applicable. When you're tailing someone, a pair is less conspicuous than a single person. Of course, that can change depending on the circumstances. In most cases, though, one stone-faced guy glaring at your back is going to inspire more caution than two idiots who happen to be following the same road. Even the best international agents usually use a male and female pair. A single tail isn't unheard of, but it demands significantly greater skill and experience. A major part of the challenge is that some people are simply more wary than others. As we've just seen, your target may turn and look behind them at completely unpredictable moments. Which means that when you're shadowing someone, especially solo, perception and anticipation are the most crucial elements of success. Incidentally, on this particular tailing mission, I've got a tail of my own. She seems to think it's going well, but I noticed her unwavering stare as soon as I left the dorm. Being observed isn't really a problem in itself, but I should probably make things clear before she starts developing any unfounded self-confidence. Sachi, if you have something to say, feel free anytime.
気づいていたの?
Yeah, pretty much from the second I left the dorm. Saki's eyes widen in surprise. Seems she did indeed have some misguided pride in her attempt at stealth. Why are you following me around?
あなたこそどうして小峰さんの後をつけているのよ?
I see, so that's how she wants to find us. Alright, Sachi. I think we all know there's a greater mystery here. Why are you outside?
まるで私が一歩も外へ出ない人間みたいな言い方をしないで。
No worries, just a little friendly joke between classmates.
それこそ悪い冗談ね。
Sachi shakes her head in exasperation.
で、さっきの質問にまだ答えてもらっていないのだけれど。
Now let's see. My favorite food. Baked beans.
誰もあなたの好みなんて聞いていないでしょ。それに煮豆って。
Saki's voice grows unusually loud with frustration. And irritation, I suppose. Keep it down. Sachi's gonna notice us.
だったら真面目に答えて。
The reason I'm tailing Sachi, is it?
ええ。
I pretty much just felt like it. Hello? Is that me? Sachi silently begins to dial a number on her cell phone. Do me a favor and refrain from calling the cops. I'd really like to avoid dealing with a certain cantankerous old codger, if at all possible.
それなら納得のいく説明をしてちょうだい。
Let's see. I think back a little way, trying to come up with some sort of reason for my behavior. Sadly, I'm drawing a blank. Well, I happened to see Sachi heading out and got a little curious. That's about all I've got. Sorry.
呆れた。あなたはそんな理由で他人をつけ回すの？
Don't worry though, it's not like I'm an obsessed stalker. Don't have a life-size Sachi poster in my room or anything. You can check. If I'd happen to see you heading out instead, I'd probably be telling you right about now.
その時出くわしたのが私じゃなくて、心底安心したわ。
While I've been talking with Sakiki, Sachi has been steadily moving farther ahead. Getting separated from her. Come on, time to move.
ちょっと
I charge off in pursuit. Sakiki follows in my wake. Where does she go? Leaving the area surrounded the school, Sachi heads in the general direction of the station. She doesn't seem to have caught on for the moment.
それを幸いと言っていいのかわからないけれど。
The male-female pair is efficient and conspicuous for covert surveillance missions. You're already familiar with how tricky it is to shadow someone by yourself, aren't you?
小峰さんとは顔見知りなんだから、見つかった時点で終わりでしょ？
That is also true. Sakiki seems even grumpier than usual. But judging from the fact that she hasn't simply stalked off back at school, it seems she's surprisingly weak against pushy tactics. Just where is she going anyway? Do you know?
肩から下げているのはエコバッグでしょ？だったら商店街じゃないかしら。
That's just what she wants us to think. It's the plan mission, isn't it? Seems Sakiki has a decently observant eye in her own right. Meanwhile, Sachi has stopped to speak with someone she met in the street.
あらさっちゃん、この前はあれどうもね。
いえいえ。
それで今日は食材の買い出し？
はい、ちょっとスーパーまで。
それなら今日は鶏ももがおすすめよ。これからタイムサービスが始まるから。
ありがとうございます。参考にしてみます。
おう、さっちゃんじゃねえか。
青木そばのおじさん、腰の調子はどうですか？
ああ、さっちゃんがくれた塗り薬のおかげで
それは良かったです。
おかげで古見さんも大喜びじゃなくて大喜びでな。メイドのお姉
ちゃんだ。ああ、小峰さん、ゲートボールの相手また頼むよ。
Before long, it becomes apparent that virtually everyone Sachi passes in the street has some sort of friendly greeting for her. What's with this bizarre phenomenon?
私に聞かないでよ。
Well, I'm asking you. I had no idea Sachi was such a celebrity in the town.
人気者かどうかは別として、小峰さんはきっと外でも印象が変わらないんでしょうね。
Same impression.
小峰さんは真面目だから、その結果はどうであれ、みんなから頼りにされているでしょ？
True enough.
だから、小峰さんが裏表のない人であればあるほど、その印象は外でも変わらないはずよ。
I see. You know, considering how uninterested you always claim to be, you're a pretty observant one.
単に、私の方があなたより先に小峰さんと出会っていたってだけよ。
Alright, we'll leave it at that.
サチ姉ちゃんだ。本当だ。お
Even after arriving at the shopping district, Sachi's encounter rate is as high as ever.
シュヌドってところリド好きソムニゲハルヨンスソマルニかアブソドゥ読んどるけ
忍だ忍だ
Sachi, please explain this as well.
一度答えられたからって何でも私に聞かないでよ
Alright. I assumed the renowned classmate researcher Professor Sachi would have some insights on the matter.
誰が教授よでぼん人で空グリオ
さすがサチ姉ちゃんそれは俺も考えつかなかったよだよな
For some reason, they're getting really excited. I don't know why.
一体どういう法則性の暗号なのかしら
Something like any I'm familiar with, unfortunately.
ヌルフシュブレンツェテロリーサもうここじゃよく聞こえない
Mumbling something to herself, Sakaki draws gradually closer to Sachi. Watch it, Sakaki. Get any closer, she's gonna notice us.
ってなんでまた隠れてるのよ私は
Now you worry about that? Talk about delayed reaction. Well, I guess you could say Sachi's pretty impressive in a way. To have so completely caught our perpetually unenthusiastic Sakaki's interest.
マグラってデルパリーソ
Nope, I've got nothing.
サチ姉ちゃんまたねまた
She just held an entire conversation in gibberish.
ここに松島さんがいたらすぐに飛び出していってるでしょうね
Probably.
子供にも人気があるのはイリスさんが遊び相手に小峰さんを選ぶのと同じ要領なのかしら、あ、ほら、オーバーよ、風見くん
Yeah, let's go. Wait, when exactly did our rules in this operation get so thoroughly reversed?
買い出し完了です
When we finish our shopping trip in the supermarket, Sachi begins to walk back towards the school, satisfied expression on her face. Seeing this is all I had planned for this particular expedition. Well, as expected, she didn't pull anything too out of the ordinary in the supermarket.
そう試食コーナーでおばさんの話を1時間も聞いていられるのは小峰さんだけだと思うけど
Saki's voice has its usual tinge of exasperation, but her facial expression is somewhat relieved.
それじゃあここからは別行動をさせてもらうわ
We're going back to the same place, aren't we?
私もここで欲しいものがあるのよ
And if you need help carrying anything, I can tag along.
いらないわ
Saki fires off an instant response, leaving no room for discussion. Alright, take care.
ええ物好きな人に後をつけられないように気をつけるわ
Touché. With a few words of deadpan sarcasm, Saki walks off her own. Alright, so I'll just finish my surveillance of Sachi by myself. When I turn my attention back to the maid in question, she's walking along while peeking down at the bag she's holding in both hands. Doesn't look like she's paying attention to where she's going. As soon as the words out of my mouth, Sachi bumps her shoulder against someone, sending the contents of her bag scattering across the ground. Well then, any way you look at it, we've got a classmate in distress here. Oh shit, the choice. Really? I can't select the choice. Help Sachi? Or wait and see. Should we help her? Or should we wait? Because if we help her, we're gonna blow our cover. But if we wait, we can observe her reaction to this individual. You know what? We're gonna play the sneaky route here. We're gonna wait. No, wait. Should we help her? I don't know. Oh, we're gonna help her. We're not a jerk. Okay, I think that's enough tailing for one day. Discontinuing my covert surveillance, I run up to Sachi's side. You alright?
風見さん、もしかして。
I'll save the bender for later. Let's get your things off the ground.
わかりました。
I think we picked up all the obvious stuff. You missing anything?
はい、大丈夫です。
Good.
ありがとうございます。風見さんに命を救われました。
I think that's a little much, don't you?
そうでしょうか。
A disappointed expression on her face. Sachi shifts the bags in her hands. Something inside catches my eye. What is it, I wonder? You know what? We're gonna find out what this mysterious something is next time on The Fruit of Grisaia. Take it easy, everybody.